Good evening. So it is about 2 minutes to midnight here in the UK. It's a Saturday night. It's raining, bit of thunder. And for those of you who may or may not know, it is the Queen's 70th Jubilee celebration day today, main day. There's been lots of frolicking about in the sunshine. Well, there wasn't much sunshine, it was a bit earlier. Festivities. Everyone's been, the last few days, having time off, chilling out with the family. Well, hopefully most people have. A few people had to work, obviously. Um, so yeah, that's where we're at really. And the kids are in bed. I thought I need to make this video. I want to kind of put my thoughts down about the crypto situation and a few couple of little pickles we got ourselves into maybe throughout my very limited crypto journey. And I want to apologize up front now. I'm not some crypto guru god. I'm just a middle-aged man who dabbled in some crypto, like a lot did. And I'm going to talk about what I've discovered actually in the last year. Well, I've, I was, I've probably been dabbling with crypto for about 3 years, but the last year and a half, I've done a lot really at all this year. But I just want to go back the last year, 2021 was a lot of crypto activity and a little bit this year, which I'll come on to. But I think it needs a bit of closure, if you like, what I've done in my crypto, and maybe some people will point out, where I went wrong, if you could say where I went wrong, whether I made some good decisions or bad decisions, and maybe you're thinking of buying some crypto, and let me know whether this affects you or influences you at all. But obviously, you're looking at this web page here, the Harris poll, and wondering what the hell is this about. I did a bit of research, as you do. I thought let's just take a step back a minute and look at the markets. What is going on in the crypto world? And you may or may not know it's a little bit of a bloodbath out there for all the cryptos really. Bitcoin has lost 50% of its value, well down from what it was. It was up around $69,000. It's about $30,000 now, give or take. Ethereum is the number two. That's well down again from about 4,000 to about 1,900, something like that. Around those areas. It's all down. All the altcoins and shitcoins, are smashed to pieces, blown apart. And the question is, how did that affect me as a middle-aged man, and what should I do now? Should I be buying now in a low, or should I just suck it all off completely? Did I make any money? So that's what I want to talk about really, because that's what it comes down to. Let's just face it. Let's not wrap this up. That most people, I mean, I'm in technology. I've got a better idea about what's involved in creating these currencies than the average person in terms of coding, delivering it as a service, and its real world functionality as a software product at the end of the day on this blockchain technology. 99% of people couldn't give a shit about any of the application of these so-called coins or tokens. They only care about it going up in value so they can make money. If you do hear a funny noise in the background, it's this hamster's gone mental because it comes out at night and I've turned the light on in my office and now it sort of doesn't know what it's doing. Um, anyway, so the question is what happened? So I did a bit of research first. Let's talk about research. So this Harris poll organization is used by Google, Harvard University, Time Magazine, loads of big players, and they conduct polls. And I wanted to know how much the average person has invested in crypto. You know, what percentage of adults? And turns out it's about 20% of all adults have invested in cryptocurrency, right? I looked at a couple of other polls as well, so it's actually sort of between 19 and 26%. But this poll, which is probably the most credible one, is about 21%. So we can say a fifth, you know, a fair chunk. And of that, I wanted to know how much money has the average person put in. And it turns out that it's about just over $1,000, basically. Then I wanted to know how much, this is all leading back, by the way, to the value of gold, silver, and crypto, and what I think is better. I did some research and wanted to know how much does the average person have in their bank account, right? And the average amount turned out to be, well, it turned out the median was £1,200, £1,250, okay? And the maximum I could find, the maximum was 2,900 on the scale. But it turned out, so I meant the average. So the average is 1250, okay? So basically the average is 1250, and 20% of all Americans, it looks like, have invested $1,000 of their amount of their disposable income they've saved into crypto, which is quite a lot. And obviously some people have invested more, some people have invested less. I'm just looking at these figures and I've just tried to extract this data and just put it into something meaningful. Also, half of men, it turned out, between the ages of 18 and 49 have all bought crypto, far more than women. It's obviously a bloke thing, this. So, my point with all this is that if interest rates keep going up, I'll come on to that in a second. If interest rates keep going up, these people are getting squeezed. Okay, and what that means is they've got less disposable income. And what that means is something has to give. And the thing that's going to give, I believe, so really I'm coming on to kind of what a prediction, a thesis of what's going to cause some kind of crash, market crash, like the 2000 dot-com bubble, the Amazon, and all that shenanigans, where people thought it was just a waste of time. You know, it was all just, you know, exploded. I'm not going to go into that now. Look at the dot-com bubble. This, we could call it the crypto bubble, is that fundamentally you've got millions of people invested in cryptocurrencies who don't have much disposable income, who are maybe, I don't say living hand to mouth, but you know, they've got a bit of disposable income, but it won't take much to squeeze them to send them over the edge and mean that they will suddenly have to start liquidating their portfolios, which I believe has already happened. Because if I look at the charts of some of these cryptos, like Bitcoin here, we're seeing obviously people have sell off and people have sold their cryptocurrency. Look at Shiba, which is a famous one, a huge pump and dump. But you know, people try to buy back in. But what's happening now is the buy back in brigade, the buy the dip brigade are getting smashed over and over again. And now it's like, I can't afford to buy a dip anymore, so I've got to pay for a mortgage, repair my car, put food on the table, pay for a medical bill, blah, blah, blah. And I believe that the catalyst for this crypto implosion is obviously the rise in interest rates. On top of, we haven't even got onto inflation. So they're being hit, these middle class, I mean, probably lower middle class and working class people who may have, because I believe that the middle class and upper middle class people probably have got enough wealth to see their way through this inflation issue, and can afford to hang on to their crypto probably a bit more. But so this subgroup of people that have invested maybe half of their savings or more into crypto are suddenly finding, with inflation and increased interest rates, things a little bit tricky. And of course, what's the first thing that's going to go? You're going to go, shit, It's all very well hodling for life, this hold on for dear life, never selling my crypto. But when you're holding on to, you've invested thousands into some shit coin like this, and you see it continually go down and down, and you hope, and there's a little buy of a dip, and then it goes up, and then it goes down, and each time it goes down, it doesn't quite come up again. It's working its way down, down, down to the bottom. So they're not really ever buying the bottom, and it's like a kind of sunk cost fallacy, I guess, where they just keep thinking they're going to, you know, find the bottom, and then suddenly everyone's going to go, yeah, the party's back on, let's send this thing to the moon. And I feel out there as a kind of amateur crypto person, dabbled, it's really kind of dropped off for YouTube. I look around at the cryptos I've invested in and bought in. All the people that were making the videos have all binned it and disappeared. They're like 3 weeks old, 3 months old. It's like the armies of people that were behind these shit coins, pushing them, peddling them. So the average person who just wanted to get rich quick um, have now disappeared off the face of the earth, because obviously it's all gone to shit, and people are worried about the here and now. So that's not to say that won't come back, and that's not to say you won't make money out of these coins. Let's just put two things to one side. Making money out of something going from a low price to a high price, whatever it is, like this, I think it doesn't matter what coin it is, what it is, it can happen. I accept that. But it's clear that you're punting 10,000 plus different cryptocurrencies, coins, tokens, and all the rest of it. The chances of hitting the one, are quite slim, I think, and people still buying into these stupid crypto schemes, and it's bullshit. Just shut this hamster up a second. And they're still pumping all their money in, and the hope that they can recover it. These essentially become a sophisticated form of gambling. That's what I've seen. Now, I do believe a few of these cryptos will emerge to be used and probably will become household names along with Bitcoin. But this is a washout of all this shit and dredge now. But the bad news is we're not at the bottom of it. I don't think we're anywhere near the bottom. I think, well, that's not true. If you look at this chart here, I've just got here, you can see, we're pretty flat now and sideways, and you've come down an enormous amount over a month. I'm showing a monthly view, but it's basically the same if I enlarge it. It's just everything is flat. And the question is should we buy in now? Should you go, actually, now we're getting right near the bottom, should we buy some crypto? And I'm now at the point where I'm like, do you know what? I will take a punt. I always said earlier in my videos, I allocated about 2 to 5% of my wealth to crypto. So I have punted on some cryptos. And I did punt on Coin, which is Coinbase. I bought some stock. That was $450 when it first came out, and it's gone down to at one point like $42. That, to me, whether I like crypto or not, that company is making billions, and it's tied to Bitcoin, which is not doing very well. But to me, there's much more upside than there is. Oh, you can see the price there was $40, and I think there's far more upside than there is obviously downside. I think it's hit the bottom there around that sort of $45 to $70 range, and it's going to trundle along. Things will recover and it will pick up again in the future. Just a long-term punt, if you could say. So I haven't bought any Bitcoin, nothing else. Now, what's interesting about this is the way gold and silver has held up this whole time. Pretty much, though slightly sideways, really, it's done pretty well considering interest rates are going up, and gold is not doesn't normally run up in parallel with interest rates, are normally mutually exclusive. The fact that interest rates are going up and gold is really holding strong at 1850 is pretty bullish to me. And I would say I do really feel that it's not going to take much more for this to go well into 2000s. I mean, US dollar is holding up as well. kind of trundling along. Everything is just kind of waiting to see what's going to happen. The only thing that's obviously like oil is insane, $118 a barrel. That is insane. And that has to have an impact, a continued impact on inflation, which is going to, inflation gold does well in generally. I feel investors are just primed on the side. Everybody's kind of waiting, going back to the original point of this discussion. I feel there's a large portion of the market waiting to see what's happening with this crypto washout. Is Bitcoin going to finally break down below this 29,000 range? You can see it has broken down, and it was holding 30k for a long time, like 32k, 35k range, and now it's more like it's a 28k to 30k range, and in about 3 weeks time or 3 months time, who knows, it could be a 25 to 28k. And I think once we dip below 20 it'll tumble, and that's when I'll be buying, and until then I won't touch it. So I believe that we're not done with this, and it is a beast to take this down. I mean, the market cap of Bitcoin at the moment is about 550 billion. If it was a trillion, so it's lost half its value. This is an asset that's lost half its value. It's supposed to be a protection against in times of crisis and emergencies. Obviously, it's not performed anything like gold, whereas gold, you could say, has outperformed nearly everything, and it's maintained its value in level over this time of uncertainty. It's not gone to the moon, right? But it hasn't lost 50 or 67% of its value. That's what I calculated. 67% of its value, Bitcoin has lost. Okay, it's definitely not a store of value. We can say that at the moment, and it's not a asset that people want to put their money in who are risk averse. Is it? I mean, you know. So we've got a problem with the volatility side of it still, although it is young and it's mature, and I get all that. So let's just look at what happened in actual buying terms in Coinbase and how it's all washed out. So over a year, what happened is I bought in, and crypto went up, did quite well. You know, took some profits, bought in, you know, took some profits. Things went up and down sideways. You know, things like I probably got caught up in some coins, invested a lot, sold off. I took little portions of profit here and there, and that continued all the way along. And then things started getting a little bit worrisome around here, August, October, the end of 2021, and I was not happy at one point with the way things were. So I had a bit of money. I only ever had about 4 grand in this, and I just took everything out. I think I took 3/4 of everything out and just left it in. And it turned out that that went up. Yeah, what I had left was in, and then I still didn't like it. And I thought, let's just clean this thing out and start from scratch. So I took the lot out basically, and then I slowly started investing again and got up to a reasonable amount. And I didn't like the way the market was taking a turn again. I had a few wins, was beginning to lose money more than make money on the crypto, and part of that was just not really researching enough certain things, you know. And you can say my choices were bad, you know, but there's 10,000 coins out there. Everyone will say every coin's the one that's going to go to the moon, and I didn't like what was going on. I thought this is, you know, I've got, you know, 4 grand here tied up, give or take. Let's take some off the table, and you can see here, this is where this big spike down is where I've basically taken a huge proportion off, like 2/3 at least of my portfolio off the table here and here. Okay, and I just left what I had in the bank, and it trundled along in the bank in Coinbase, and here we are now. And then I left that, it's trundling along, went up and down. I probably bought a couple of little bits here and there, and I thought, this is just not really, don't really like the market. Took it all out, boom, cleaned it out again. So we cleaned out again, and that's where we are now. And then I think actually that's not true. I probably left about 5%. I think I just left a few bits of shit in here where I thought, actually I'm prepared to leave a couple of $100 in this, because if this stuff ever does, where you got millions, 3 million Shiba Inus or whatever, if ever that does go to $1, at the moment it's obviously here, you can see it's at 5 decimal places, 6 decimal places. If that goes to $1, and you took that out for the sake of 32, you would probably hang yourself. And so I just left it in there. But the problem is, this is the problem with I think the Federal Reserve in America puts interest rates up. The UK Bank of England does follow America quite closely in what it does. And I think it's obviously got crypto investors in America, UK, all over the world. But the power of these people, the power of the what's the word? The belief is so strong in the crypto community that in what they've invested in these people that they would rather walk in front of a train than sell their crypto and put food on the table. That's how hard it is. It was hard for me to liquidate. So I couldn't actually bring myself to clean it all out. Again, I thought I just can't cope with the thought of taking this stuff, so I just left it in there. And you can see where it is now. It's all pretty worthless, but it could go up. It could go up. You look at something like Internet Computer. You got this thing. Let's do a bit of editing. Yeah, what I wanted to show you is things like this Internet Computer coin. How they get you, these crypto people, is that you have this huge, it comes into Coinbase, it goes up, buys in, the huge spike, $750 a coin, bang. Of course, everyone buys it down here, keeps buying it, hoping this is going to happen again, because it could happen. It could happen once, it could happen again. And it just goes down, 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 down. But it'd only take, say, something like Microsoft or somebody to adopt this, or somebody, I don't know, to fund this or put their name to it, like Amazon, I don't know, and you would see this. You could even see it overnight, you know? So this is why people are so reluctant to sell their cryptos, because there's always the what if, and living with losing it would be unbearable. And that's the same with all these assets. Um, so, I've got these things like this thing here, this protocol, which is a protocol that tracks and analyzes the behavior of pets and feeds back in real time the data that can be harvested and maintained, and I get rewarded for this. I mean, this sounds like an interesting idea. It's so out there that it's I don't know, it's just balmy, but there you go again. You spend 70 quid, you punt on it, you buy hundreds or thousands of these tokens, and you wait for that day to come in, the payday, and it just goes on and on like that. And that's what millions of people are doing, and that's what I was sort of saying at the beginning. You've got this big problem where people don't want to let go of their crypto, and they'll hang on to it rather than die. And whether that, in the end, if interest rates just go up a little bit more, that will eventually, whether it can cause the collapse in the next bubble. So, so just really wrapping up, the situation I'm in now is I've got a few of these coins, I'm dabbling, messing around, and I'm just going to leave them there. And if there's an opportunity, if something like some of these that I've researched to look reasonable go to like one, less than a penny, I may punt another tenner and buy 1 million of them, because I think these will have their day again and explode, and that's fine. I want to be part of that. I don't want to look back and my kids go, "Oh, Dad, why didn't you buy? Oh, you were alive. You could have bought those. I don't believe it. You could have spent just $20 and you could have bought 1 million. You didn't. Oh my God, we'd all be, there's that pressure, but that pressure is just not on me. It's on everyone in this game. They don't, and that's what's different to kind of about gamble. When you go in gamble, or you bet on horse racing or something like that, you walk in, you bet on the horse, and it's over. It's over. But with the crypto gamble, it's worse in a way, because it's not over instantly. It's not clean. You keep coming back for more, and you keep hoping in the margins and are it's so huge, the potential you could make from a tiny investment of just $100. Yeah, I can buy 1 million of these and I can get 20 billion back if they just go to $6 a share, a coin. Do you see what I mean? That is very powerful and very difficult to dissuade people not to do it. And I'm doing it. I like to think I'm a reasonably intelligent person, and I'm doing this gamble. I'm here, sat here, spending my kids' inheritance on this shit, basically. So, I don't know, I don't know what to make of that, really. Make of what you will. But I feel much happier with my gold and silver at the moment. Much happier with it than my crypto. I think crypto's got some long-term potential, but it's in a bit of a pickle at the moment. I think that it could get worse before it gets better. So yeah, and probably in the future, if like I said earlier, I will only buy Bitcoin because Bitcoin's got first move. It's the brand that everyone knows. It's the household name. Whenever I bump into somebody who knows I dabble in this, I always go, "Oh, how's your Bitcoin doing?" Like that, and they like laughing because they know it's crap or something. They don't give a shit about any of the other things I got. They wouldn't know if I said to them, "Oh, I could give you 2 million Shiba Inu if you want." And they'd be like, What are you on about?" Yeah, oh, what's your Bitcoin? That's all they care about is Bitcoin. If you ask 1,000 people randomly in the street, 99 of them have probably heard of Bitcoin. 99%. You know, you ask them how many of them have got some protocol or Shiba Inu. Yeah, and that counts for a hell of a lot. I think the name and branding and first move is humongous. So that's my plan: is sit on the side, learn a lesson, have my fingers burnt. Probably lost about, I probably lost a couple of $1,000 in all this. I've made money overall, and I look at it as a self-funded business lesson. I try to be positive, even though I've lost some money, not in one go, but over time. And and I've lost money as well by just screwing up, by having made profits and taking them and doing retarded things like sending the my tokens to the wrong Bitcoin wallet or address, or not Bitcoin wallet, to another address to convert them to an exchange. I've just done stupid things that have cost me as well, along with losing money on the price of them going down. That's all part of it. But so anyway, I hope you found this useful, and give us a thumbs up and do subscribe. That really helps me out if you're interested in this content. And leave any comments or questions. Let me know what cryptos you bought, if you've bought any or never going to buy any, whether I'm talking shit. I'm happy to take that on the chin, and I'll see you soon.